From the New York Post, Louisville declares racism a public health emergency. uh, public health crisis in the wake of police killing of Breonna Taylor in the Kentucky city. Mayor Greg Fisher made the declaration Tuesday by signing an executive order called Advancing Racial Equity for Black Louisville, which calls for a focus on the societal, physical, and mental health impacts on ... On the black community, the move, which comes more than 8 months after Breonna Taylor was shot dead in a botched police raid. Finally, they stopped saying no knock raid. Also vows support for Kentucky state initiatives to increase police transparency and accountability, Fisher said in a briefing. Quote, Breonna's tragic death made our city a focal point for Americans reckoning on racial justice, end quote. I'm sorry. So the woman was trafficking narcotics with her boyfriend. I'm a white dude. I live in Eugene. We used to traffic in narcotics and marijuana. And we used to have SWAT teams come and raid the house. And I'm white. If I had a gun and I shot at the cops, when the SWAT team raided my house, they would return fire and they would probably kill me. And if there was an innocent person in there, they might accidentally kill them too. Because it's the real world. That's called reality. But no, they're saying, oh, they targeted her because they didn't target her because she was selling narcotics. They targeted her because she's black. Isn't the reason why the cops busted down the door because drugs are illegal? I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. Can somebody tell me in the comments down below? Is it not true the reason that the cops kicked the door down was because of the war on drugs? So obviously, if there's a public health emergency, it's obviously people getting strung out on dope and dying from fentanyl that they're getting from the Chinese Nazi Party through the network of illegal immigrant drug smugglers that that compose the 30% of federal drug trafficking convictions that are illegal immigrants. I think maybe it might have something to do with the fact that they were selling narcotics where it was illegal to do so. I'm pretty sure they had guns when they came there because it was a narcotics investigation and they're there to arrest Breonna Taylor and her boyfriend so that they can get the drugs. Now, should the cops have been doing that? I don't think the cops should have been doing that. I'm in Oregon, where now heroin and meth and coke and acid and mushrooms are like legal. So now when the cops come to your house, they're like asking how many people you have over for Thanksgiving. If you have too many people, then they raid your house. You can have somebody like next to Odin on the couch with heroin, and then they go straight for the people eating the turkey. Okay, all right. This is crazy. They go heroin. No, that's fine. Grandma's over. Oh, busted. You going to jail, Grandma. Damn, I wonder if white privilege is going to save the day. Can maybe just like the white privilege factory just like has this extra surplus of white privilege, and then like it just comes through and just like saves us from these crazy people? I mean, has white privilege ever actually saved anybody from these crazy? I don't know. I think they just go insane about the white privilege. So I'm just gonna call them on that one. Reading on in the article, as mayor and just as an American and a human being, racism sickens me, end quote, he added. So what's the priorities here? What is more of a problem? Is it racism or is it gang violence and drug abuse? I mean, the cops are here breaking down the door because the woman's a narcotics trafficker. Why are they in her trafficking narcotics? She's dating some loser guys where they're trying to come up and blow up and be ballers and make it rain so they can be misogynist and treat women like shit. Treat them like bitches and hoes, and then just keep moving on to the next woman to use. And then when they do have a kid, they're not around for their kid. If you ask me, that sounds like a public health emergency. Not only is that a public health emergency with the drug epidemic, which largely affects children of single moms, or the prison epidemic, which again largely affects children of single moms. You got a 20 times increased chance of going to prison if your mom is single. It's because she's sleeping with some skeezy gangbanger dude that was treat women like bitches and hoes, and then once he knocked her up, then he's gone to move on to the next bitch to use. And then your kid doesn't have a father, grows up to be a drug addict and a criminal, and then you're just locked in this cycle of generational poverty because you spent most of your money on flashy things and you didn't invest it into your kids like the wealthy people did. Instead, you went out and bought a fancy car, got that super fancy iPhone. Then you're trying to come up on YouTube or with your music, with the production thing, instead of getting into science, technology, engineering, math, entrepreneurship, design, and education. But then you say it's the white man. It's systemic racism that's holding you down, that's preventing you from taking advantage of the opportunities and the resources that are available because you're too busy partying, doing drugs, having sex, womanizing, getting in trouble, getting arrested. And then if somebody did actually hire you to do the job, you'd probably say, this is way too much work. I got other things I want to do. I want to go get fucked up. I want to go make some music. I want to go have sex with women. I don't want to do this job. You guys are oppressing me. It's like, okay, well then maybe that's why you don't have the job there in the ivory tower, getting paid that Asian privilege money. Maybe that's the reason why. Maybe it doesn't have anything to do with that. Because people just assume, oh, black people have a low income because it's the white man holding them down. As if it couldn't have anything to do with their own spending habits and their own parenting habits and their own learning habits. As if you could just throw money at you can just make it rain. Make it rain. Get all those stuff. You can just keep on shopping, and that's somehow going to fix the income gap. All right. I used to make hip-hop music, and I got into YouTube, and I got a lot of stuff, and then more stuff that you get, it occupies up all your time. And you could just like do a full-time job just doing audio, video tech. trying to set up shit, and you could hardly get anything done because you just went and bought a bunch of stuff. That's when I started getting rid of stuff. I'm like, okay, this doesn't work. Definitely would rather have one camera and one that I used a lot more than one camera, because it just doesn't make sense. It's like adding more money to your YouTube channel doesn't work to get you more views, right? You got to put out content, and then the more stuff you put in there, the more stuff you're buying, the less attention you are putting on the channel, less work you're doing. And then if you want to get ahead doing another business, you're SOL, you're completely out of time. None of that has anything to do with racism. None of it. No, it's all technicalities of how you have to run your life if you want that quote-unquote Asian or white privilege. It ain't privilege. They earned it. And then once they earned it, they helped their family out and their friends, like anybody would do. That's what everybody would do in that situation. You got some money, you worked really hard, I'm going to go help out my family and my friends. That's what I'm going to do. But you're not their family and you're not their friends. So that means you're not getting helped out. That's not racism. That's called common sense, dude. That's called the real world, where like not everybody's going to be nice to you, where other people have families that they would rather help out themselves. And until you start to figure out that pattern and you keep blaming other people for the reason why you didn't study hard, not go out and party, why you didn't put off having a girlfriend so that you could put yourself in a good position when you're in your 30s. That's where you get privilege, man. People don't respect you because you got fancy clothes or because you got cool YouTube channel or a music studio. In fact, most people wouldn't care. They'd never come over. Don't know how to do any of that. Not their gig, dude. You just build a man cave for yourself. True that. Everybody else who built a man cave was like, yeah, true that, bro. Nobody came over to the man cave. They wanted their own, right? And you're like, it's a pattern. You got to look at patterns like that in the world. Like, okay, well, why are African Americans at the bottom of the income spectrum? Why is it that the GPAs of the races, you can see African Americans are at the bottom, Latinos 2.969, Latinos have 2.84 GPA, white people 3.09, Asians 3.26. What's the cutoff for the engineering school? 3.0. The cutoff's 3.0, dude. All these people are under it. And then it translates directly into your income. This is almost the same as the GPAs. It's almost the same. I'm sorry these numbers are 10 years out of date, but we must presume it's been going on like this for a while. Got to presume it's going to go into the future. But you must assume these patterns are correlated to each other. This pattern of the GPAs is correlated to the income. That has nothing to do with race, dude. The truth is that African Americans spend their stuff on flashy stuff. They buy Air Jordans. They buy fancy clothes. They buy a sweet whip so they can go out and party, hook up with chicks. I mean, they're cool. You know, get a man, slaying mad white chicks. But then you don't get your spot at the top of the ivory tower. You don't get in with the ivory tower liberals. This is your asexual group of people. They don't go out and party. They chopped off their penis so they could rise up to the top of the ivory tower. That's why they up there. Their dick fell off. Their husband left them because they work all the time. Now they're the crabby feminist up at the top, always complaining about this power structure about how they put a glass ceiling over top of it. And the truth is because she ain't got no dick in like 3 months. Nobody wants to have sex with her because she's too aggressive from being the boss at work. She's upper class. None of the men make enough money to be on her level. They can't match her. They can't go on those fancy vacations with the inner circle of all these big tech big MSM companies. Like, you're out. You don't make enough money for her. You're not. And then she's all preaching about inclusion. No, these people aren't. They're like, they are not diverse. These white males, and they're not all about inclusion. So we have to get rid of the white males. And then at the same time, they wouldn't date you at all. It's like, this doesn't make any sense. When you actually look at the logistics of the situation, it looks like feminism is like a stinky, rotten fish, and it has very profuse odors coming out of it, and that it's extremely highly toxic, radioactive, glowing toxic. And what is the article? And this is the stuff these people are pushing. This is what they're saying, systemic racism, because it's all in the same bag, stinky bag of shit. It's one big shit bag, dude. It's they got all this anti-white racism from the, they say there's the dominant class of people oppressing the oppressed class of people. It's the patriarchy of the privileged white males. And they put the glass ceiling above the women at work to prevent them from achieving their dreams of putting off having kids till their 30s so they could slave for some millionaire, doing crunch to hit deadlines, working 16 hours a day, sleeping in a cot with the rest of the dudes who are putting off having a kid till their 30s so that they could be in a good social status to get the woman that they want. But it's us that we're the problem. We're the ones that like did everything right. The ones that like put off having a kid till we're in the 30s so we could get a good wife and have a family, and so our kids can have a better opportunity. Than we're the ones that are the bad ones. Like I'm the privileged white male because I got a white privilege factory and I only give out the white privilege to all the white males, and then I won't share any with the minorities or the women. It's me up there, up top my ivory tower. I'm actually the one that's underpaying every single minority and woman in the country. I got a cut of all the paychecks, and I just take it and I just give it out from the white privilege factory up top my ivory tower. And I'm the big bad wolf, baby. Yeah. Oh, I'm going to come and huff and puff and blow your house down, baby. I'm such a bad misogynist. You're going to have to get rid of me because I got a cut out of your paycheck, baby, and I gave it away to the white men at the white privilege factory. All right. Have you guys heard enough about these people bitching about racism to try to get me click on news articles? Eventually you start to see the pattern. You're like, wait a minute. Are they really doing this for a public service here? Is this really why this guy's doing this? See, question. Here's the demographics of Louisville, Kentucky. It says it's 69.94% white and Oh, look at that. 23.46% black. I wonder if that's why the politician's saying that. It's not that there's systemic racism. It's that we passed a civil rights act that outlaws racism. It's illegal to do that in the government. You can't do that. It breaks the laws. So how is there systemic racism if we have institutionalized anti-racism? And that's why this dude is a snake oil salesman. He's selling snake oil. He's saying there's systemic racism from the privileged white males at the white privilege factory. They're not giving any of this white privilege to the African American voters there in Louisville, Kentucky. So that means that it's a public health emergency because it's our fault that the black people are getting strung out on drugs from the illegal immigrants. Me, because I'm a white male. So it's because of my race and my gender, puts me in a dominant class, means that they're the oppressed class of people. Crazy? I was crazy once. They locked me in a rubber room. It was cold down there. It was so cold that I died. Then the rats came. They gnawed on me. It drove me crazy. Now we just keep going down and down the shit chute into crazy land, where you see passing by, you see all of the isms and negative labels of toxic masculinity, racism, xenophobia, sexism, Islamophobia, transphobia, homophobia, all coming by. And eventually you start to see these people are scammers. Eventually you're like, all right, so the black people are a big demographic. They're almost all of them are Democrats. They are BLM people. So if you want to get elected, you are going to have to deal with the BLM people who created this constituency of anti-white racism and white feminism. And it's like, okay, I live in Oregon. There's 1% black people here. There's hardly any police shootings. The only police shootings that you will come across are like tragedies and very infrequent. And sometimes the dude's mentally ill. Ends up with a knife or a gun or something tragedy. And there's no police brutality against the black people, but the black people who do live here have a 3 times higher crime rate on average. And then they say it's the white people discriminating against them while they're getting diversity tickets. And they're able to get jobs in the ivory tower through the HR department with their woman studies and African American studies degrees, that they're only qualified to fire white people to replace them with younger, more diverse people because they can pay them less. The whole thing's a house of cards. It's a lie. From the entire thing. Once you see that it's a house of cards, all you got to do is just the whole thing just crumbles, man. It just falls apart. It's like, okay, so you mean you're telling me we're in a real world where everybody's not nice to each other, and I got a penis and the women got a vagina, and it's a first come first serve where once they got served, now they help their friends and their family to get even more and corner the market. And they're not going to be nice back to us. They just want us to be nice to them, and then they take everything, because that's the real world. It's called a competition, dude, and you lose. Right. That's when you have to just tell them, look, man, you should take your shit, your liberal horse shit nonsense and shove it up your ass, man. If you like this content, don't forget to smash that like button. The best way you can help the channel grow is to share this video on social media. Don't forget to subscribe and ring that bell for notifications. Also, if you want to fact check this article, you can find the fact checking over at github.com/RSS commentary /Kayla McCullough /issues/114 Where'd that article go? All right, just getting the links together for you. You can fact check it by just typing in bracket 8. So you don't have to type in the name of the thing and correct any errors in the next show.